Never, and I mean never, touch certain things on a cruise ship without thinking twice, because one careless move could ruin your entire trip. Ex-cruise ship cleaners know the dirtiest secrets, and most passengers have no clue. Ready to protect your vacation? Cruises look glamorous, sunsets, buffets, and endless fun. But behind the shine are hidden shortcuts and messy truths the crew won't tell you. That's why today we're breaking down 11 insider secrets from former cruise cleaners who saw it all. Here's what you'll discover: the everyday item that carries more germs than a public toilet, why the buffet isn't always the safe food paradise you think, and the surprising way kindness to the crew can score you secret perks. Stick around, because knowing these tips means cruising smarter, staying healthier, and even saving money. Once you hear what really happens behind the scenes, you'll never look at a cruise ship the same way again. Here's a dirty little truth. Ex-cleaners say the germiest things on a cruise ship aren't the bathrooms. It's the stuff you touch without even thinking. One former cleaner admitted they wore gloves every time they wiped down remote controls, light switches, and even those fancy cabin menus, because they knew passengers before you had handled them nonstop. And here's the kicker: sometimes those items barely get a quick swipe before the next guest checks in. Why does this matter? Think about it. Thousands of people cycle through these ships, and everyone brings their own germs with them. Cold viruses, stomach bugs, even traces of food and drink end up on surfaces you can't avoid. Now picture yourself grabbing that remote, then eating chips on your bed, then wondering why your stomach feels funny the next day. It's not bad luck, it's hygiene shortcuts. And on a cruise, a bug spreads like wildfire. So what's the fix? It's ridiculously simple. Pack a small pack of disinfectant wipes or spray, and make it the very first thing you do in your cabin. Wipe down the high-touch spots: remote control, door handles, light switches, the bathroom handle. 30 seconds of wiping could save you 3 days of misery. And here's the twist: the dirtiest place on the ship isn't your cabin at all. It's a spot thousands of hands touch every single day, and it might just be where your trip takes a dangerous turn. Everyone thinks the cruise buffet is paradise: endless shrimp, soft-serve towers, desserts that seem to multiply by the hour. But ex-cleaners say what you don't see behind the counters might make you think twice. One cleaner shared that food from the buffet line, if it still looked fine, was sometimes brought back to the kitchen, cooled, and then reserved the next day. And when thousands of people handle the same serving spoons, let's just say germs spread faster than the dessert line after karaoke night. Here's why this matters: the buffet is high-traffic chaos. Hundreds of hands reaching, kids grabbing, people coughing as they lean over the trays. The food may look fresh, but every extra minute it sits under those heat lamps is more time for bacteria to grow. That all-you-can-eat freedom can turn into all-you-can-risk food poisoning if you're not careful. And nothing wrecks a cruise faster than spending 2 days curled up in your cabin bathroom instead of on the pool deck. So how do you outsmart it? Simple. Hit the buffet early, right when it opens. That's when food is freshly prepared and least handled. If you're eating later, head to the main dining room instead. It's slower, but meals are plated in the kitchen and far safer. And if you think the buffet is bad, wait until you hear what happens in your bathroom. Because what cleaners revealed about cabin toilets will change how you pack forever. Cruise ship bathrooms might look spotless when you first step inside, but former cleaners admit the reality is far less glamorous. One cleaner revealed they were sometimes given just 5 minutes per cabin to strip beds, tidy surfaces, restock towels, and yes, clean the entire bathroom. When you've got 20 to 30 cabins waiting, that toilet and sink don't always get the full disinfecting treatment you'd expect. Quick sprays, a fast wipe, and on to the next room. Why should you care? Bathrooms are where bacteria thrive: moist surfaces, high passenger turnover, and shared spaces. If even one shortcut leaves behind norovirus, it's enough to spread sickness across half a deck in days. And think about it. Do you want to use the same sink someone just used after a buffet binge if it hasn't been scrubbed with actual disinfectant? You're washing your hands, sure, but what if the faucet handle itself is carrying the germs you're trying to rinse away? Here's your safety net. Bring a small travel-sized disinfectant spray or sanitizer wipes specifically for bathroom duty. Wipe down the toilet seat, flush handle and faucet before settling in. It takes less than a minute, but can save you from losing days of your vacation to stomach cramps and queasy nights. And here's the jaw dropper. As sketchy as bathroom shortcuts sound, ex-cleaners confess the beds sometimes got even less attention. You might be sleeping on linens that weren't washed after the last guest. You probably assume that when you walk into your stateroom, those crisp white sheets were freshly washed just for you. But ex-cleaners admit that's not always the case. With hundreds of cabins to flip in record time, staff are under pressure to make things look clean, even if they're not. One cleaner confessed that if the sheets looked fine and didn't have obvious stains, they were often left on the bed for the next guest. Why does this matter? Cruise ships can carry thousands of passengers, all sleeping, sweating, and sometimes even eating in those same beds. If linens aren't swapped, you could be crawling under blankets that still carry someone else's skin cells, hair, or worse. Add in the humid ocean environment, and sheets become the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. You might think you're snuggling up for a cozy night, but you could actually be sharing more than you bargained for. The fix is simple but important. Don't be shy about asking. The crew is trained to respond to firm, polite requests. If you want fresh linens, call housekeeping and ask for a change right away. Even better, leave a small tip and a smile. Most cleaners will go the extra mile for guests who treat them kindly. And here's the kicker. Sometimes the things you can't see are worse than what's on the sheets. Because under the carpet and beneath your feet, cruise ships are hiding a dirt problem that vacuuming can't fix. Cruise ship carpets may look plush and patterned to match the decor, but ex-cleaners say they're basically giant germ traps. One former cabin attendant admitted the vacuums they were given could barely handle surface crumbs, let alone the spills and stains soaked deep into the fibers. Coffee, wine, sunscreen, even baby formula, all of it gets absorbed, and no matter how much scrubbing they do, those carpets never really smell or feel fresh again. Why is this a problem for you? Think about the thousands of passengers who've walked across that same cabin floor barefoot, tracking in sand, sweat, and germs. Add to that kids dropping food, drinks splashing at sea in the humid salt air, and you've got the perfect recipe for bacteria to thrive. For allergy sufferers, it's even worse. Dust mites and mold spores can linger long after a quick vacuuming. That clean cabin you just checked into, it might still hold years of trapped dirt beneath the surface. Here's the hack. Don't go barefoot in your stateroom. Pack a pair of lightweight slippers or always wear socks indoors. Not only does it keep your feet clean, it reduces the chances of picking up something unpleasant from the carpet. And if you think dirty carpets are bad, wait until you hear about the ice. Because what ex-cleaners revealed about cruise ship ice machines will make you rethink every drink you order. On a hot cruise day, nothing feels better than grabbing a cold drink packed with ice. But according to ex-cleaners, those ice machines you trust are anything but refreshing. One cleaner recalled opening up a machine for routine checks and finding layers of mold, slimy residue, and even bugs caught in the drainage trays. The scary part? Most passengers never realize it because the ice looks perfectly clear. Why does this matter? Unlike the buffet or your cabin, ice machines aren't cleaned nearly as often as you'd expect. With thousands of people using them every day, moisture and darkness combine to create the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. So while you're sipping that iced soda or frozen cocktail, you might also be swallowing a cocktail of germs you didn't order. And if you've ever had a mystery stomachache mid-cruise, the culprit might not be the buffet at all. It could be the ice. So how do you avoid it? The safest bet is to stick to bottled drinks or canned beverages, which come sealed and untouched. If you must have ice, order drinks directly from a staffed bar. Bartenders usually get theirs from better-maintained machines. And here's the good news. Not every secret is disgusting. Some insider knowledge actually makes your cruise more enjoyable. Because the next thing cleaners revealed is a perk, one that proves being nice to the crew can pay off big time. Quick note before we continue, if you're finding these insider tips useful, make sure you hit like and subscribe right now. That way you'll always know the secrets to cruising smarter, saving money, and avoiding nasty surprises. Not every secret from ex-cleaners is gross. In fact, some of them can actually make your cruise better, if you know how to play it right. One former steward shared that when guests were especially polite or left small thank you notes, cleaners sometimes slipped in little extras. Extra towels folded into creative animals, a surprise basket of fruit, or even better bathroom supplies than the standard issue. It wasn't official policy. It was just the crew's way of rewarding kindness. Why does this matter? On a cruise ship, you're one of thousands of passengers. To the crew, most people blur together. But when you stand out for the right reasons, you unlock a level of service most guests never experience. A simple thank you or a $5 tip can mean your cabin gets extra attention, your sheets are swapped more often, and your requests are prioritized without you ever having to ask twice. Here's how to make it work. From day one, introduce yourself to your cleaner by name, smile, and show appreciation. Even small gestures, like leaving a candy bar or a little tip, signal respect. In return, you might be shocked at the small luxuries that quietly show up in your cabin. But before you get too comfortable with those perks, there's another insider warning you need to hear. Because when it comes to toiletries, what looks brand new might not be what you think. You know those little soaps, shampoos, and lotions waiting in your cabin? They're supposed to feel like fresh hotel luxury, but ex-cleaners admit the truth is less glamorous. One former steward revealed that if a bottle of shampoo was half full but still looked clean, it often just got put back for the next guest. Same with bars of soap that had barely been used. To the eye, it looks untouched. But in reality, you could be lathering up with something that's already touched a stranger's skin. Why should you care? Think about it. Cruise ships serve thousands of passengers each week, and turnover between cruises is lightning fast. That leaves little time for thorough checks, and toiletries are an easy corner to cut. A nearly full bottle saves money and time, but it also means you risk using something unsanitary. The worst part, you wouldn't even know unless you happened to notice the seal was broken or the wrapper missing. So what's the solution? Don't rely on cruise toiletries. Bring a compact travel kit with your own soap, shampoo, and sanitizer. Not only do you guarantee freshness, but you also avoid the risk of sharing more than you bargained for. And if you think that's unsettling, wait until you find out what's hiding under your bed. Because what cleaners discover down there will make you want to check twice before sliding your suitcase underneath. Most cruise lines encourage passengers to stash their suitcases under the bed to save space. Seems smart, right? But ex-cleaners revealed it's also where they find the nastiest surprises. One steward recalled pulling out luggage and discovering old food wrappers, socks, spilled soda cans, and yes, even dirty diapers from previous guests. With cabins flipped so quickly, sometimes staff only do a quick sweep, which means leftover trash and germs can lurk right where you slide your belongings. Why does this matter? Imagine rolling your clean suitcase across a sticky spill that's been sitting there since the last cruise. Now that residue is clinging to your clothes for the rest of your trip. Even worse, underbed spaces can trap dust, allergens, and the occasional bug, all of which make your room feel less like a vacation getaway and more like a storage closet. So here's the fix. Before you slide anything under the bed, give it a quick check. Use a flashlight on your phone, peek around, and if you see debris, ask for it to be cleaned again. A 2-minute inspection is better than finding your suitcase smells like last week's margarita spill. And if you think the underbed surprises are gross, wait until you hear what's floating in the pool, because ex-cleaners say that sparkling blue water isn't always as clean as it looks. The ship's pool looks like the ultimate vacation dream. Sparkling blue water under the sun, packed with happy swimmers. But ex-cleaners warn the truth isn't quite so glamorous. One cleaner revealed that pools are often so heavily used that instead of being fully drained and scrubbed, they're simply blasted with chemicals to keep them looking clear. The water might look fresh, but in reality, it's just masking what's floating around. Why does this matter? Think about it. Hundreds of passengers, sunscreen, sweat, spilled drinks, and kids who treat the pool like their personal bathroom, all mixing together in one giant bowl of water. Strong chemicals can hide the problem, but they don't erase it. That's why swimmers sometimes come away with itchy skin, burning eyes, or even stomach bugs traced back to poorly maintained pools. What looks like relaxation can secretly be the riskiest part of your day. Here's the hack. Shower both before and after swimming. Rinsing first reduces what you add to the water, and rinsing after helps wash off any residue left behind. If the pool looks cloudy or smells overwhelmingly like chlorine, that's a red flag. Skip it and head for a quieter activity. And here's the twist. Not every secret is gross. In fact, the final insider tip might be the best one yet, because cleaners know about hidden spots on the ship that most passengers never discover. Cruise ships can feel like floating cities. Crowded pools, noisy buffets, and packed hallways. But ex-cleaners revealed a secret that most passengers never discover: hidden quiet spots. One cleaner shared that when cabins were done for the day, they'd sneak off to tucked-away decks or little-used lounges where almost no one went. These places weren't off-limits, just overlooked. And to this day, only the crew and a handful of sharp-eyed guests know they exist. Why does this matter? Imagine escaping the chaos of kids cannonballing into the pool or dodging elbows at the buffet. Instead, you're stretched out in a peaceful corner with ocean views, sea breezes, and maybe just one or two other people around. These spots can turn an ordinary cruise into something special, a calm retreat you didn't even realize was possible. Here's how to find them. Be friendly with the crew. Ask casually if there's a quiet deck or lounge they'd recommend for relaxing. Staff are usually happy to point out overlooked areas, like a forward observation deck, a hidden sunbathing nook, or an underused cafe. Not only do you escape the crowds, but you also enjoy the ship like an insider. And here's the perfect ending. While many secrets on this list were about what to avoid, this one is about what to enjoy. Because sometimes the best part of cruising is finding a quiet spot where it feels like the entire ocean belongs just to you. Thanks so much for watching. You've just learned the real behind-the-scenes secrets from ex-cruise ship cleaners. The good, the bad, and the downright shocking. Now you know how to cruise smarter, stay healthier, and even score a few hidden perks most passengers miss. Here's a fun challenge. If you made it all the way to the end, type "smooth sailing" in the comments so I know you're part of the insider crew. I'll be watching for those who made it through every tip. And if you're planning a cruise or even just dreaming of one, don't stop here. Click on the next video where I reveal the biggest cruise scams and booking traps that could cost you hundreds of dollars if you don't know how to spot them. Until next time, may your sheets be fresh, your ice be clean, and your adventures be unforgettable. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next video.